Hi, my name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single week I bring you the macro technical analysis for Bitcoin. Total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the NASDAQ, S&P futures, and a surprise coin of my choice that I want to show you maybe doing something different in the market. So first thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin. I've been super bullish on Bitcoin. If you've been watching me on these macro analysis, I keep telling you they're going to keep printing money. We talk about the dollar losing key levels. And I've been super bullish on Bitcoin. If you remember the last time we were here and people were kind of bullish or bearish, I kept saying, hey, as long as Bitcoin stays above this key level here at 41,375, we weren't going to see more downside, right? I'm the same guy that told you when we broke above the 5-day 200 SMA and we were right here on this red candle that we were likely going to continue to move as long as we stayed above the 200 SMA. We did that. We continued to pump, and we got a beautiful move to the upside. I also just showed you that this was just a simple flag. I kept saying as long as a weekly candle does not close below this yellow line, when we closed there, it was sketchy, but when we went below, but we did end up closing back above the pattern. And I said, hey, this just has a measured move. The flag should break to the upside. We should see Bitcoin at $65,000, $66,000. Like, this made perfect sense to me. Everything that I saw happen makes sense. Like, it was supposed to happen based on technical analysis. The odds of what happened, that's a bullish rectangle. They break out 68% of the time. Price was close to the 21-day moving average. Beautiful. One thing I do caution is whenever the weekly gets this far away from the white line, this 21, we usually have some type of pullback. However, there's massive inflows from the ETFs, and there's just really no resistance. Look at the weekly. You broke above weekly resistance. Your next area really is right. There's really no resistance except for the all-time high for Bitcoin. So this is a very interesting time to be alive. And Bitcoin pumps all the way to $61,009, about to break back to $62,000 right now. Nice pump for Bitcoin from the morning low here. So we did actually point out the daily low so far on the live stream. So we see this move here. And so our next resistance for Bitcoin is really 65, 66,000. It's really where these two candles close. So let's look at that really closely. So yeah, you're looking at a $65,600 Bitcoin. And to me, it's like it has to happen. Like, it's just, you broke above resistance on the weekly, clean too. And once this candle closes above resistance, I just don't see how we don't continue to the upside. So I see more movement for Bitcoin on the macro. And again, yes, eventually once we push through, maybe we'll come back, and we do eventually have to come back to this 21. But it's telling me we might get one more push up before that happens. We look at the 4-hour time frame, and you can see the 4 hours just making a beautiful flag. And to me, it's just getting ready for another big move to the upside. So I would trade this 4-hour flag. This is what I see happening. I'll give you a free trade right now. I see Bitcoin booming, and that gives you a target of 77,400. And it tells me to keep my stop like somewhere, pretty close there, a 5 to 6 to 1 ratio, stop loss at 58,381. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. If not, you get one of the most monumental moves for Bitcoin's 4-hour ever, and it looks very likely like it's going to happen. So there's a free trade for Bitcoin. I like what I'm seeing, and I'm posting that to the trading group as we speak. That looks absolutely lovely. BTC 4-hour bull flag, right? And that's a bull flag considering you've pumped up nicely and you've come back into this consolidative point. So I'm going to go on a limb here, and I am bullish for Bitcoin. I say when we get here next week, we're going to be above 65,000 into this big area. So the probabilities are telling me that a big move is coming for Bitcoin. We're going to get a big push to the upside. The 4-hour looks absolutely beautiful for a nice pump coming. Total market cap of all of cryptocurrency. When it was here, we talked about it being bullish. It just had to break above this level. My target was here at 236. We're sitting at 229, about to hit my target. Unbelievable. So that was my prediction too. If you'd been watching me, I said the same thing on all these weekly analysis. So they're going to keep printing money. I see it continuing to the downs to the upside. So then when we got here, I made a little bit of a flag. I thought the flag would consolidate a little longer, but boom, we got a huge push to the upside. All coins getting bought up. You're talking Solana getting a big pump today. Meme coins got a huge pump. Institutions, big money flowing into meme coins is what we're seeing too as well. So what happens now? Well, the daily's a little far away from the 21. You're pumping. Same scenario here. I'd be watching this 4-hour time frame, and it's telling me that the daily is about to get pinned, and the 4 hours about to take control. I see the 4-hour breaking out. Maybe a little more consolidation, but just like Bitcoin, and this takes us to $272 trillion. We really break through that resistance. And and that's going to take us to the next week's analysis. So I'm bullish for the total market cap in cryptocurrency. Total 3 is all the altcoins. And we talked about breaking above 614 billion. Let's look at these key levels that I went over here as well. They get jumbled up a little bit, but 648 billion, 680, and 730 billion. I put this big red arrow here because I wanted to make it really clear that I was bullish on the weekly. You can see the Adam and Eve double bottom, the flag here, the 21 crossed the 200 SMA on the weekly, very bullish sign. The 21 is coming for the 5-day on the 5-day chart. Whenever I've seen the 21 cross the 200, it's usually a massive, massive move. I'm going to shrink down so you can see why I was drawing these flags and what they were doing. But the macro looked beautiful. I saw this ascending triangle really, just 3 or 4 days ago, and boom, it's March 1st. We are booming to the upside. I see another consolidative triangle here. I wouldn't be surprised if it even gets a little closer, but just like the market cap for the whole market and Bitcoin, this is the total market cap of all the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's why we call it Total 3. Sorry if I didn't say that at the beginning. Total 3 is the market cap of all the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. I see them about to make a massive rally to 680 on our way to $1 trillion market cap just for the altcoins alone. I say when we get here, we're either sideways right here a week from now. So today's the 1st. So we'll be back here on the 7th. And yeah, it's telling me that when we come here on the 7th, I see prices are going to be higher than they are now based on the analysis. Also looking at Bitcoin dominance. As Bitcoin dominance continues to rise, as Bitcoin gets hot, but it is kind of letting into altcoins. Each time we get this red zone, we let a little bit back into the altcoins. However, Bitcoin dominance looks absolutely really, really strong on the weekly. Like it's in an ascending triangle, and it's saying, hey, I want to continue to the upside. These little things are little flags that I drew on smaller time frames. I'm watching this flag here on the 1 hour. It's telling me that Bitcoin dominance actually is pretty bullish. A big move looks like it's coming for Bitcoin. When Bitcoin pumps, though, it doesn't seem to be demolishing the altcoins as bad. They're holding, and then the bigger altcoins are going to move. So you're going to see Bitcoin pump. Within a few hours from there, Solana is going to pump. AVAX is going to pump. Matic, the top 10, 20 coins, XRP will get not a huge pump like Solana, but, and so I see this happening here too. Bitcoin dominance, looking for a big move into the weekend. I do see some alts pumping and the AI continuing to pump, so get excited for that. I don't see the alts getting crushed. Bitcoin will just move first, and then the money flows into the alts. Bitcoin moves first, the money flows into the alts. That's the cycle we've been watching. That's what's been happening. U.S. Tether dominance. We talked about it completely being demolished and losing that 200 SMA on the 4 hour. That's when you short a market. Then we showed you these bear flags, and we talked about this going further to the downside. We talked about this as, when the first, basically it was a symmetrical triangle. And we talked about that breaking down. Its target was right there. We've been on this ever since we lost the 200 SMA on that daily time frame and continuing to the downside. Tether dominance, no, end in sight here for this completely nasty drop. At one point, people are going to tether up. When is that is the question. Yeah, why would you want to be in the dollar, though? This could be the final really bigger collapse. This rising wedge broke to the downside. So far, so good. We're getting very oversold, but this could continue. Let's take a look at our 1 hour, and your 1 hour is starting to make a bear flag, which is a great sign. And, we want to see this basically continue to the downside here for the dollar. It looks like for the weekend, it's going to be another rally. I keep saying at one point, when do we eventually get some type of pullback? But they've been few and far between. We just get sideways. Who wants to be in Tether? I just unloaded more Tether too. You know what I mean? It's logically not smart to be in Tether right now. When you have meme coins, you have so many things ripping, AI, meme, gaming. Being in Tether just doesn't seem to be the right idea, right? As I segue this all to the DXY dumping, right? And let me just jump into the DXY real quick for you. I've been talking about the DXY continuing to the downside. That goes hand in hand, right, with Tether dominance. I see this bear flag. I would love to see, which interesting, look, is the DXY hasn't done what Tether dominance has done. And you can almost like learn from each other while you do these macro. And what I mean is, remember when the U.S. Tether dominance lost the 200 SMA on the 4 hour? Right? If we go back in time here and you see this, that was the beginning of a nasty, nasty dump. Same thing here if we go to the DXY. We're about to get that dump. And look, this is kind of head and shoulder-esque. And look, I've been showing this giant head and shoulder pattern for the DXY. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. This tells me that there's a move further to the downside coming for the DXY. And, the probabilities are that we're going to go further down, make this right shoulder, and then even get a bigger collapse. So this is showing that the dollar is really on its last few legs. These last rally, if you look at the last two rallies of altcoins and even the stock market, This was, look, 2017 to 2016 to 2018. That was the Bitcoin's run. And then here again, here's Bitcoin's run. These are bear markets when the dollar only goes up in the bear market, right? And so we've already dropped the equivalent, like this length. We've already dropped that equivalent. And we haven't even gotten what everyone says is going to be the halving. And it looks like the dollar is going to really collapse this time, possibly all the way back to 91. I don't see how it doesn't if we're going to get this massive rally in the altcoins. I see the head and shoulder pattern, and it's all playing out to give us like a beautiful 2024 into 2025. And then it says, yeah, like, you know, as the summer ends into 2024, and you're into a nasty dump for the dollar. S&P future looks to follow suit. I talked about this flag breaking out and continuing. I showed you this the last time I did this. This was 2 weeks ago. So it's March 1st. We go back to like the 20th, and we go back somewhere here. But I was making this flag for you, showing you that now at double bottom. But I was saying, hey, man, I'm super bullish on the S&P. They're going to continue to print money. I'm the one that gave you the cup and handle before it even happened here on the S&P. There's your cup. There's your handle. We ripped. I talked about entering the market right there on October 31st. Hidden bullish divergence on the 3-day. Bullish divergence on the daily right there. And boom, that was your entry. Ever since then, I've been telling you they're going to print money. It's an election year. They don't have a choice. Don't you realize this? They don't have a choice. They have to keep printing the money. If they don't print money, we're going to collapse completely. We're going to run out of everything. Like, they won't be able to do. And then if they keep printing money, they're going to devalue the dollar to no end. They don't have a choice. They already made the bad decisions years and like 20, 30 years ago. These decisions were made. It's set in stone. I'm going to run for office on this and tell you that they're never going to get to 2%. And we're going to continue to the upside. I see the S&P getting to 52.69, and my overall bigger target is even bigger here. I'm talking getting all the way to a big high at 7,420. At that point, I mean, you know, would they cut rates, and does the dollar immediately just start gaining value again? It looks like we're going to head into what's called an everything bubble, where there's just no reason to be in anything but non risk on assets. But right now, this is a beautiful move. It is Friday. A little bit of bearish div here. We may get a pullback, but so far so good for a nice pump. You know, and I'm more bullish than bearish on the S&P. NASDAQ is the same story. Not much to talk about. I wanted to see this rising wedge break down. Interesting enough, we kind of have a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder here. When we shrink this down, you can see the NASDAQ possibly might be consolidating into just a very tighter channel here and getting ready for a bigger move to the upside. I do see this inverted head and shoulder. However, I see it more like a sideways price action for the NASDAQ. When we look at the daily for the NASDAQ, super bullish too as well. The cup and handle broke out. I have a bigger target for the NASDAQ. If I take away the moving averages just to clear it away for you, you can see. And I even delete my old work for the NASDAQ, but I've been basically showing you the same. It's the same as the S&P. They follow, like, they're twins. You know what I mean? Whatever I put out for the S&P, the NASDAQ does. It's just the simple thing. You're going for this measured move, which is the length of this cup and handle. And it says we got all the way to at least June or July. And again, they keep printing money. There's no choice. You broke the all-time high. There's really nothing else they can do here. We slap on the moving averages again. You're talking about the 21 being close. So this almost looks like it's breaking out, honestly. And I see a breakout for the NASDAQ, actually. Next week, look for the NASDAQ to continue to the upside and to go to 20,000. Maybe even the next month. By the end of March, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit a 20,000 in NASDAQ, because they have to keep printing money. It's the same thing. Sol Bitcoin, giant cup and handle, about to beat up on Bitcoin. I see it making 125%. One Bitcoin will double if you flip it into a Sol BTC pair. That's what the charts are telling us, and that is your basically surprise chart. Everyone, this is your macro weekly analysis for Bitcoin. I hope you're excited. I see some really bullish signs. I actually just uncovered a bullish trade right now that I posted to the trading group that I just found as we speak. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life. Thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it.